Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. Another trade has come in the NFL, and it involves another superstar defensive player from the Bears. Yes, it is Roquan Smith, and he was traded to the Baltimore Ravens. In return, the Chicago Bears received a player I have never heard of in A.J. Klein and the Ravens' 2nd and 5th round picks in this upcoming draft. I've got to say, this is a fair deal for Chicago. The Robert Quinn trade, which I made a video on and will leave a link to in the description, wasn't a fair deal for Chicago. The Eagles robbed them just a 4th round pick for a superstar defensive player. I know he's getting up there in age, but he still deserved more than a 4th round pick. But this is a great trade for Chicago, because Roquan Smith is a free agent, which means that he's not quite worth a 1st round pick. If he was signed to a reasonable contract, I believe he could be worth a 1st round pick. But some people may believe that contract to be too expensive, so the Bears did the right thing in just trading away Roquan Smith how he was, and getting a 2nd round pick along with a player and a 5th round pick. So this goes to show that even though the Bears are doing surprisingly well this season, they are still aiming for full-on rebuild. They are going to try and build around Justin Fields from the start, I hope. And they're going to rebuild their defense, trading away their aging players and their superstar defensive players that are a bit older in exchange to try and get younger players so that they can be a competitive team 5 years from now without huge cap constraints and 30-year-old players. Makes perfect sense to me, but at the same time, Roquan Smith was a cornerstone defensive player. He was really good these past couple seasons, and he's pretty young as well. So the fact that they're willing to let him go just like that shows that maybe they don't have a ton of respect for their superstar players. And that could be the same case with Justin Fields, who they've refused to build around, despite he's proven that he's a budding star, I hope. He's looked pretty good, but he hasn't looked amazing. So it's tough to say what will become of Fields. But what I do know is that he has potential. And if the Bears do not build around that potential, then he is going to be a bust or one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because he somehow goes through with this terrible Bears organization. We'll see. All I can say is I sincerely hope that the first 2 picks the Bears have, probably even 3, are used to help Justin Fields. Get him a couple good receivers, maybe one through free agency, one through the draft. Get him a really good offensive lineman, and maybe a couple more through free agency that are veterans, so you don't have to rely on rookies. Get maybe a new running back. I love David Montgomery, but he's a free agent, so you might want someone to upgrade on that. And then you can focus on the losses of Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith. But first, build around Justin Fields. He is a star quarterback in the making, in my opinion, so they can't just let him go. Now, on the Ravens' point of view from this trade, they did well. Yes, they had to get rid of a 2nd round pick, but they just got a superstar linebacker who's young. The Ravens haven't had a young superstar linebacker for years now, probably since Ray Lewis. So this is great for them to get their hands on someone young that is a proven superstar for this team that could be a Super Bowl contender. Great on the Ravens. And this could prove to help Patrick Queen and Odafe Oweh and even David Ojabo develop into superstar defensive players as well. Perhaps Roquan Smith can mentor the latter, which would be even better for the Ravens to have a bunch of young, budding linebacker superstars, because their defense is aging. They keep signing veteran free agents, but they're never going to last more than a couple of years. They have Calais Campbell and Michael Pierce on the defensive front, who are both aging significantly, and who are both fairly recent additions. Then you've got Jason Pierre-Paul and Justin Houston in the linebacker core. So see what I mean? 2 more aging additions who are solid, but they're not superstar players, and they're not going to stay more than 3 years. So, if I were the Ravens, it is the smartest thing you can do to acquire a proven superstar when you're a Super Bowl contender like you are. Because Odafe always looked fine, but never amazing. Patrick Queen's had his ups and downs. David Ojabo's been injured so far, so I have no idea how he's going to play. But the Ravens haven't had all that much success with drafting superstar linebackers recently. The one thing that surprises me is that the Ravens would go for a linebacker instead of going for a receiver, because they desperately need receiving help. Rashad Bateman's been progressively mediocre this whole season, and after that, you've got nothing. Mark Andrews is a superstar tight end, but aside from him, Lamar Jackson has no pass-catching weapons. So, it would be extremely smart, and it's possible they still do, go after a receiver. Linebacker is a nice thing to have, but they need to get a receiver for Lamar Jackson if they want to be a true Super Bowl contender. So, thank you guys for watching. As I've mentioned multiple times before, the trade deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is 1 o'clock where I am right now. So, this means that we are coming really close to the trade deadline, and we could get some even better trades in the next less than 24 hours now. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys again soon.